What is up, everybody? Welcome. It's Courtney here with my esteemed colleague, Ryan Weary. We're going to be talking to you about social media strategies of top producing agents. And I want to tell you, it doesn't take a whole lot. One of the challenging things that I find about social media is that there are some people out there doing it at a super high level. It looks super complicated. There's some of the best cinematography on the planet in the real estate space. And unquestionably, that's cool, looks awesome, and it helps. But we're here to tell you that you don't need to be the world's best cinematographer, best editor to do a ton of business with real estate. What you do need is a consistent strategy that you apply daily, where you just keep doing the same things over and over and over to build a loyal following of people who know, like, and trust you. So Ryan and I are here to tell you today about the things that we've done successfully to build our businesses over the years that anybody can do, that doesn't take a degree in cinematography or media or any of those things. A couple dummies like us can do it, right, Ryan?
Yeah, no doubt. And thanks for that little intro, Court. And it's so true. And with social media, I do think it can be a very lucrative endeavor for any agent to do, but I also think it can be a massive waste of time if not done properly. Now, when I started my real estate journey 6 years ago, I always heard that it was important to post on social media and to quote, get yourself out there. And I quickly found out it took me about a year and I'm like, hey, wait a second. What I'm doing here is just like everyone else. And unfortunately, if I'm just like everyone else, I'm not going to get any results from this strategy. And I feel awkward doing it. Right. It's like a buffalo jump. Like I shared this one slide in a presentation a couple months ago, and all the slide was like a buffalo jump. And right on top, it said 85% of agents don't make it to year 5. So to me, it's like, hey, I can't just go with everyone else because everyone else doesn't make it past year 5. So why should I do that? And I
Mm-hmm.
take that same concept. And if that's like a foundational thing for my social media strategy, it's like, how can I be different than everyone else? Because I know that everyone else, they're not going to make it. So why would I do that? Right. So social media is a huge pillar in my business. And I take that philosophy and I paint it over every single pillar, but especially with social media, because if you don't do it correctly and you don't stick to it, you could just be spinning your tires and it might feel good to post, but
Mm-hmm.
is it actually speaking to your audience in a way that when they're ready to transact real estate, you're going to be their front of mind?
So critical to put it that way, Ryan. That's really intelligent to look at it that way. And it makes me think of, some folks out there that have done an incredible job being different, like I said before, because their content is just like so out of this world. There's a couple people in Calgary that I look at their stuff and I'm like, man, like the production value of these videos is like so unobtainable for the average person. But these people have backgrounds in cinematography, right? So they already owned a $10,000 camera. They had decades of editing experience behind them, and it's their passion. So of course you'd bring that to real estate. So I already know, Ryan, that I'm not going to compete like that unless I
Mhm.
want to spend 10 grand a week on video, and I don't and can't. So knowing that I can't compete that way, how can I compete? What are some of the things that you've done? Let's share with the audience.
Well, before this is the last thing I want to show you guys before we get going too, because I literally just did this before we got on this webinar. So I have a deal board in my office at home. Okay. So I'm at 18 deals year to date. And I put on here on the right side where they were coming from, just because I know this year's been disproportionately different than the years prior. So 16 of my 18 deals have came from past clients, SOI, or referrals this year. And we're 2 months into the season. So I'm just telling you guys, like what I do for social media might be different than the majority of trainings out there. But for me, if you can actually do it for, I would say 18 months, you're going to start to see results. And in my opinion, results are deals. Results are really good leads that are coming to you as opposed to hammering the phones all day long like I used to have to do. But now I'm like, hey, my business is structured properly now to where I'm churning out business over and over and over. So when you ask what do I do, the first thing I would encourage you guys to do is not start a business page, not start a team page. I would use your own personal page. Okay. I would switch your personal page to quote professional mode on Facebook. Okay. That's
Yes.
very easy to do. Just YouTube it. It changes every year on how to exactly do that. It unlocks the ability to not only boost ads, but just to see a little bit more detail of what ad is actually, or what post is doing well, shows you their engagement, the reach, et cetera, et cetera. But
And who your avatar is. Who are you
so true.
reaching? Who's interested in your content? What age? Male, female? What
Mhm.
cities? Oddly, I have a huge following in Pakistan.
Really? Yeah. Good to know.
Not that helpful, but interesting.
Yeah. So I think of my personal social media guys as like an arena. Okay. And that's why I would encourage you just to use your own personal channel, because your arena is already filled with people, i.e. your Facebook or your Instagram. So why would you just go start another arena with no one in it? That would be like starting a new page for Ryan Weary, the realtor. Like, we don't need that. We just need our personal page. I encourage you to grow your audience as much as possible, but you
Mhm.
guys already have a built-in audience and you're
Yeah.
already connected to those people in specific ways. And I would encourage you guys to like dive into that. Like, hey, how are you connecting to your people in your audience already? And the
Yeah.
number one thing that you have in common with every single person in your audience is that we're human beings and we're
Yeah.
on this planet together. And I would encourage you to have your content relate to them in that way, because the more you can relate, the more engagement that they're going to get. Okay.
Mhm. I like to think of it like this. Take you, for example, Ryan, you love your family, you love golf, right? You love real estate, you love coaching. So imagine, guys, if Ryan had a Facebook page for each of those things. Ryan Weary, the golfer, and then keep up on that. Now, Ryan Weary, the coach, right? Now, Ryan Weary, the badass realtor, that's a third page. Ryan Weary's, family man page. Like that would be too much to keep up on. Ryan Weary's one human being. Ryan Weary encompasses all of these things as part of his being, and people are interested in him because of all those things, because of the combination of things and who that's made him. And so we don't want to separate the realtor from the person. We want to bring the realtor to the person
Mhm.
and tell that whole story of your whole person to the community that cares about you and invite more people to care about you. That's exactly what Ryan's talking about here.
Love that. And another way to look at it too, guys, is I always say, like, we want real estate to come through our posts. We don't want real estate to be the front facing message to our posts. Right. So that's why I never post like just sold or, hey, another open house here, or I sold this house in 3 hours. Remember, guys, that's the buffalo herd that's doing all that
Mhm.
stuff. So I want to have a different messaging, and I want to figure out, like, hey, how can I relate to these other human beings that are in my audience already, knowing that those people probably aren't going to buy and sell real estate right now, but when they do, okay, I'm speaking to the masses here. When that 99% of my audience does decide to do real estate, I'm going to be there front of mind for them. And that's the whole concept of this, to where, yes, it's a longer game, right? But to me, it's more sustainable. It's easier to figure out how to create content. It's easier to be myself instead of just same old selfie post in front of a sold sign. Like, that gets tired and it exhausts your audience.
Branding has never been easier than it is right now with social media done properly. And this is the thing that Ryan's talking about here, friends. Years and years ago, let's go back, 15 years when I was getting into real estate. I think Facebook was just coming around then. But in order to have a real strong branded message back in those days, you needed billboards, you needed radio, you needed TV, you needed to do all those things to have this kind of ever presence. Listen, with good organic content done regularly, you can be in front of the people who are going to give you the most business anyway. Those are the people that already know you, already like you, and already trust you. The challenge that most agents have is that they're stuck on, well, I need to have a listing to talk about listings, or I need a buyer to talk about buyers, and I don't. So I don't have anything to talk about. And it's like, listen, of course you don't, because you're not on your social media every day talking about real estate, stories about you that relate to real estate, or as the foundation. And to Ryan's point, not being like the subject, but being kind of like the behind the scenes story that you bring forward. And Ryan, you and I both, I know, have great examples of how we like to do that. So why don't you share an example of something that you've done that kind of illustrates that theme of bringing real estate through a story, or through your storytelling on your social, and how effective it's been for you? Because I know a lot of people struggle with that
Sure.
concept and they struggle with ideas, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, so a recent one is like my wife and I, we just bought like our forever home. Like, and I jokingly say to people, like, we're gonna be there until my knees give out, and I'm being serious there. But so like that's a big moment in our life, right? And people in my audience, I like their big moments in their life. I celebrate them, so I want to share my big moments in our life too, because it is something to celebrate. Okay, and so my messaging does get tweaked a little bit about how we were able to do this, and me and my wife were able to build a life of our dreams, because of the risks that I took getting into real estate, i.e., the real estate coming through the post, not front facing. So that's a simple tweak. Another big thing where my content is catered towards is lifestyle. Okay. Especially recently having a kid, I'm like, I want to be present for him. One of the great ways about real estate, about doing well in real estate, is that I'm able to have my own schedule so that I can be there for him whenever I need to be. Right. So, like, the simple things that are going on in our life, if we don't actually sit down and think about, hey, how could this be a piece of content? How can I just have real estate kind of as just the side dish almost? Right? But how can I basically make content that's going to resonate with my audience?
Yeah, 100%. One of the things that I did, this is going back a long time ago, when I was having trouble thinking about topics to talk about on my social channel, Ryan, was, and this is before Chat GPT, by the way. Now you just go to chat and be like, hey, give me a list of, 30 things to talk about this month that are current, right? If you're paying for Chat GPT 4, it's going to Google current topics for you even. But back in those days, I would just think about it this way. I would think to myself, what did I do today in my real estate business that my mom, who's 30 years older than me, would care about? So back, 15 years ago, that was, she'd have been 65, let's say. My mom doesn't have a huge attention span for real estate. She doesn't really understand what I do, particularly now. But back in those days, it was pretty simple. But, she didn't want to hear long stories, like a 3, maybe 5 minute story. So I just put a gun to my head and committed that every day I was going to tell a story on social media, and I would call it my Live for 5 at 5. And
Mhm.
it forced me to get in the habit of telling real estate stories, kind of from a behind the scenes standpoint, not about listings, not about buyers, not about the conventional things that everybody was talking about and continues to talk about. It literally hasn't evolved at all, except the quality of the photos and, all of that. And I'll tell you, it blew me away, the response. Like, people just love to know what I got up to. So I would think, like, let's say, for example, today, I'll just give you an example of a story that I might tell because today was pretty cool. So I had a chance to speak to this young agent from Grand Prairie, 2 years in business, and he's been selling 10 homes a year for a couple of years. And we know with this coaching, we're going to help him take it to 20 or 30 probably this year, using a couple of simple strategies. Super disciplined kid, was like on screen taking notes. He's got the whole thing being recorded. I've got it recorded, going to send the recording to him after. Like, this kid's disciplined and he's an action taker. And so, like, I was just really inspired to see somebody 22 years old really that keen to make a difference in their own life, paying attention to someone who's willing to give them some free time, and how much that fires me up to bring value to other folks, and just to think, man, like, what am I doing today to show appreciation for those that are mentoring me and spending time with me? Because trust me, we all have to be like that in our lives. I think that's a cool story. And I would tell that story on social media today just as a way of giving somebody an example. It's a story of appreciation. It's a story of gratitude. It's recognition of somebody else and their hard work. And it's also bringing it back to me and the work that I do and supporting others. And listen, you're listening to me tell that story. Well, I don't know if you just heard me or not, but I kind of pitched you on our coaching program. I kind of told you that I'm a badass coach. Like, you're thinking that, but I didn't have to come out and tell you, right? I just told you a story of me doing that for somebody else and how I'm also being coached. But you see how that's all kind of present in that messaging, right? Like, it wasn't overt, it was very subtle, it was right there. And what you can do about every second or every third one of those stories, you can just bring it back and say, and listen, guys, by the way, if you want to have a conversation about coaching, just reach out to me anytime. I'd be happy to have that chat. Like, just a real
Soft call
quick,
to
like,
action. Yeah.
super soft call to action. Now, guys, selling real estate where you're sitting right now, imagine you're telling these stories of success, the cool families that you get to work with, the things that you did today, the places that you drove to, the kinds of houses that you looked at, the story of the family that you worked with, of course, protecting their confidentiality, right? And then every second or third video, you're like, oh, and by the way, guys, listen, if you want me to give you some evaluation on your property, give you an idea what's happening in your neighborhood, just reach out. I'll be happy to do it for you for free. Take good care. Boom. Soft call to action. Like, guys, if you just did that, like, literally every day, put it in your calendar, give it 5 minutes. You will not believe what your business looks like, Brian, in 12 to 18 months. Like, it'll blow your mind.
And that's the tough part. And I'm just making a few notes here too. And one of the things that I wrote down when you were talking, Court, is delayed gratification, because
Mhm.
a lot of agents to me are coming to me right now and saying, hey, Ryan, I want more listing business. Okay. And to me, that response, or that issue that agent is having, in my opinion, That's actually not the issue. They're
Mhm.
starting to panic. They're starting to feel like their grip is losing strength. And they just need to basically have a scapegoat to say, hey, I need listing business. But really, if they would have just done these things 18 months ago that I told them to do, they would have no issue with the market or the interest rates right now. So like it's very much a delayed gratification thing. And I am proof of that, having 16 of 18 in the bag right now, coming from referrals
Mhm.
or past clients. Guys, every single person that I come into contact with, they're on my socials, right?
Mhm.
So I don't have like these elaborate drip campaigns for my past clients. They're just on my socials. And
Mhm.
that moment I get a DM saying, "Hey Ryan, I sent my number or your number off to a buddy of mine. He's going to be in touch." Like I celebrate those wins more than anything in the world because I know that that is working. And not only is it working, it's very easy. It's
Mhm.
very easy to do, to create content to where it's just grabbing your phone. You don't need anything fancy. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you're just telling stories and you're talking about personal growth and you're talking about how you're winning via real estate. Like that's it.
Yeah, 100%. So critical that the folks that we meet with and talk to and engage with, we've got them on our social. So important that your clients and past clients, when you go into your social channels, ideally we're talking about Facebook and Instagram. And if you've set those up as professional profiles, you have the opportunity to go back and prioritize the people that you want to follow first. You always want those to be your past clients, right? I mean, it's nice to follow your Aunt Sally, but if she doesn't live in your city and isn't going to be buying real estate from you, not so relevant. But those folks that do live in your city and are having highlight real moments in their lives, when you can see those and celebrate with them, send them a thumbs up, a nice comment, and then record a quick video and text it to them. Come on, guys. Like, so great for you to be able to do that. And it doesn't take a huge amount of time, right? It's not until you get to the point of having like 1,000 past transactions where for one person, it becomes a little bit more challenging to manage where you might need some support. But for one person, you know what? You can do 70, 80, 90 deals a year like Ryan does and manage this stuff yourself without a huge amount of time. And Ryan will tell you, he's doing it part-time pretty
Mhm.
much, right?
I'm
So,
I'm so I'm just looking. I got my second screen here. And I'm looking at the best post in terms of engagement in this year, so year to date, and that's a video that I made about talking about infertility. Believe it or not, has nothing to do with social media. It's about what me and my wife went through, and I'm speaking to those folks that are actually struggling going through that. And so that's just a prime example. Now, I'm not posting that video to get real estate deals from it. Okay. That's very, very clear. That's not the intent of it.
right,
But the engagement and the algorithm is putting that in front of people because it's actually engaging with people. That's like that going back to that concept is I'm standing in the ring in front of a huge audience. Like, what does my messaging, what is it going to be? What do I want it to be? Right. I want to help people. I want people to reach out to me if they are struggling going through infertility or anything like that. So like, I don't know. I think social media is really cool for that specific reason. And usually your best posts are the ones that you don't think are going to perform that well.
right.
There's a trend there for sure.
And the beauty of what you just said is that that's the stuff that makes you human. And guys, the most critical thing that's I think lost on a lot of agents is that they're trying to be like a caricature of what an agent should look like and should be to their audience rather than just being themselves and understanding that that's going to be good enough. And so I want you to think about this for a second, okay? You know, conventionally, what realtors are terrible of doing, it's just like always, always, always posting their listings. Hey, look at me. I'm a celebrity. I've just sold this other property and, hard close. If you want to do a deal, call me, whatever. Boring. Okay. Here's the thing. If you were just consistently posting on social media, a good balance, and don't get too worked up about what it is, a good balance of your professional and personal life, you're going to be crushing it. Okay. And the problem is, to your point earlier, Ryan, is that most people want a quick hit. They're like, oh, I'm dry on listings. What am I going to do to immediately start getting listings on social? And the answer
Too
is,
late. It's too late.
I mean, maybe running some ads, but then you're just competing with everybody else running ads. Now your audience is just seeing you in an ad. So it's not really compelling. Guys, what we're talking about here is strengthening relationships. Okay. And you only strengthen relationships with people when you consistently make deposits in their value bucket. And you can only do that over time. You can't fast track that. You can't make 100 deposits today. You can make one deposit over 100 days. And
Mhm.
guess what? That takes 100 days. So get to work today and yield the results. But don't overthink it too. See, that's the other thing, Ryan. Like I'm looking at what my best performing post was. Let's see, I got 22,000 reach on it. Only 30 reactions and 12 comments. Go figure. Uh, oh yeah, this is a post about why so many agents are looking for part-time jobs. So yeah, anyways, just consistently post thematically about the thing that you're doing. Like for me, I'm a coach and team leader, so that's the bulk of my content. But you're an agent. What are the struggles that you're finding that buyers and sellers are having? How could that relate to other people? What is a cute story that you had happen from the last week? What's some work that you did today that was particularly boring that you really didn't like doing, but it's a part of your job? How did somebody help you with your job recently that you could pay some gratitude to, tag them, and capture some of their audience too, right? Here's a good one. Nobody thinks about this too often, but when you do a deal, do you tag a picture of the property and thank the other agent? You don't have to make it about the house at all. Make it about your client, right? Hey, just had a really great transaction with my clients, Bob and Sue. I want to say special thanks to, to Ryan Weary with the Atkinson team. Man, this guy is a super great realtor to work with, tremendous professional. Ryan, thank you so much. Now, here's the thing. I'm the most grateful realtor. Ryan's audience is now seeing that. And if anybody also knows him and me, and I'm the more grateful guy, maybe I got a chance of stealing a deal from that guy next time. Okay, that's the way I'm thinking about it, being straight. Wasn't about the house. Didn't even have to have a picture about it. Maybe it's a picture of me and my clients. Maybe it's just a picture of me. Maybe it's a picture stolen from Ryan's Facebook. I don't know, but it's going to be about somebody else, not about me. Guys, all these little things done consistently speak to you being consistent. That's what people want. Like the biggest thing that blows my mind is the agent that gets into real estate and hopes that people are just going to figure out that they're in real estate when they're not posting about real estate, talking about real estate, or doing anything real estate related. They're just hoping that somehow these floodgates of opportunities are going to open to them, but they're not doing any of the things, right? Like get
Mhm.
on the phone, call the people in your sphere of influence, and then go ahead and run ads. $1 a day, $2 a day, whatever. Find a post from the last month that hit really hard and literally just go spend $2, friends and friends of friends,
Yep.
and do the same thing next month. It's going to cost you, what's $30 times two, $60 a month, $720 a year. Like, come on, we can all afford that, right? Now you're going to be getting your best post from last month in front of more people, and you're going to keep on creating content. You got 30 more shots at it if you're doing a post today. Like, there's so many things that you can do so long as you're being consistent.
Love that you talked about boosting ads at low dollars because that was the second part that I wanted to talk about too. Because
People might
as
mistakenly believe that we have a big agenda that we get
yeah,
together. We just know each other really well.
yeah. So and I'm not kidding, guys. Like one of the things that you need to implement is having a centralized spot in your phone or like literally a notepad or something. I use notes on my MacBook because it connects to my phone too. And it's a storing place. I have a note page for ideas for boosted posts. Okay. And I will run a boosted ad on the first business day of the month. And in the middle of the month, I'll do another one. So I got two videos running for 30 days each. So there's always duplication because I know if I go on vacation, I forget. There's an ad of me running in my market, uh, usually two ads every single day of the year. Low dollar, centralized over my market. Okay. These ads, guys, there's zero call to action on it. I am going from a value perspective. How can I add value to my audience? Because I know my audience is likely not going to buy or sell real estate this month, next month, or probably not this year. But I want to give them value. If I'm giving them value over years, then I'm at least going to get into a conversation or be front of mind for them when they are ready to buy and sell. So, what do I say in these videos? Well, I usually debunk a common belief. If I can ever debunk a common belief in real estate, I'm going to note that down. Okay. I'm looking at the post that I got running right now, posted on February 13th. The biggest mistake I see first-time home buyers make, dot, dot, dot. Okay. And that's true from working with first-time home buyers. Okay. They make a lot of mistakes. Mistake number one, oh, by the way, is not getting an agent to work with them exclusively. And I talk about this in the video. The video is literally me in my vehicle monkey arming it. Okay. It does not need to be perfect at all. Okay. The video that I posted on the first is 5 biggest misconceptions of the real estate industry. And I just talk about them. I write them down. Doesn't have to be perfect. I take one take, whatever it turns out to be. That is it. I boost it for $2 a day. Easy peasy. But like, guys, the tough part is I don't know exactly how my ROI is on this, but 16 of 18 deals this year coming from referrals, sphere of influence, okay, or past clients, it's working. It's
Yeah.
very simple to do. And I would say get to work making videos. Don't worry about it being perfect. Don't worry about if your next post has 0 engagement. You need to get 100 videos under your belt first, minimum.
I think the challenge that so many people have, Ryan, first of all, especially in real estate, is that we're always being sold something. Guys, you got to ask the question, okay, are we trying to sell you a social media program right now? I got no program. We're literally giving this away for free. But here's the challenge. I promise you, you log onto your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, there's somebody in there in the first 10 minutes trying to sell you a program that's going to change your life. Well, here's the challenge. It's horse shit. Do you know what? We make a lot of money on online ads too. And you'll find ours on there. And if you want to buy one of the programs, great, do it. What you're not going to find is a social media marketing program, okay? Because it's just not that complicated. All you got to do is be consistent. Do exactly what we've just shared. Go ahead, post something every day. If you want to get super fancy, alternate between a monkey-armed picture and a monkey-armed video. If you have a hard time writing content, use ChatGPT and then polish it up so it sounds more like you. I mean, I can tell my friends that use a lot of that and they don't take any time to do any of their own editing or to, kind of proof it. Sometimes it's a little bit too perfect, but go ahead and do that. Think about the things that you're up to that are real estate related, but not directly, that aren't bragging or boastful, but that are interesting. What stories would you tell your aunt about what it is that you do for a living that she'd be interested in hearing about, that you could keep her captivated for 3 minutes? And that's all you need. And guys, listen, if you're not great at storytelling, you don't fancy yourself a wonderful communicator, don't sweat it. You know what? The people on your Facebook, they know you. They don't think you're any different than you are. So just be your damn self. It's perfectly fine. Like, listen, you know, there's people that like the way that I sound. There's people that don't like the way that I sound. The folks that don't listen, don't watch. And the folks that do, they do. Some of them even pay me. Hey, that's my audience. That's all I care about. And it's going to be the same for you. It's the same for Ryan, it's the same for everybody else. But if you're not doing it, how are you going to know? Right? You got to try it. You got to be consistent and then you'll know. And then try like a couple dollars a day on a boost for the content that hit, the stuff that got the most engagement. Do it once a month or twice a month like Ryan. Game over. That's all you got to do for real.
Love that. And this might be getting into the weeds a little bit, guys, but if you are thinking about doing some type of past client outreach via email, or if you're thinking about, starting a YouTube channel, or you're thinking about doing any other things like client facing, the beautiful thing about social media, if you do it correctly, you can make a video and then just multi-purpose it in all those other avenues. Like I have a YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, constant contact account, and a CRM account, guys. It's the same video that runs through all 5 of those, right? I'm not making 5 different videos twice a month for each of those channels. It's the same. It's the same description. It's copy and paste. I have a little routine that I go through. Takes me probably 15 to 20 minutes all in. So think about like, hey, what type of content can I multi-purpose? And if you're coming from like, how can I give value? That content's going to be great for past clients. It's going to be great for a Facebook ad. It's going to be great just for your normal channels as well. If you come up from a value perspective, it's good across the board.
Yeah, awesome. One of the great tools that you'll find out there, speaking of tools for whether it's editing or a lot of different things too that we love. One that I do some of my own personal editing on is just CapCut. I think I've got the pro version. I don't know what it cost me, but it was pretty affordable. And for the amount that I use that, which isn't a huge amount, it's well worth it. The second one that we love is the script. Great tool for doing some more polished editing if you want to change orientations of videos for different purposes. You want to chop stuff up more easily. It's got some AI integrations with it as well. Another great tool. Any other tools that you like to use, Ryan, for captioning or for editing any of the videos that you're putting out there?
Yeah, I would say let's preface this whole thing with like done is better than perfect. I have a 60% rule that I use for my socials, meaning like if I make a video and I rewatch it and I'm like, that's 6 out of 10, boom, done. I literally, it's a personal policy that I can't reshoot that. I have to execute on it. And I'll go back to what I said earlier too. We don't know what post is going to do well. I think some posts that I give out, I'm like, this is so much value, and it just lands flat.
Dude, that happens to me literally every time. I'm like, I've just dropped a video that could change every realtor's life and it's worth millions of dollars. And it's like 7 people see it and like it. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah,
what
it's
do you
and
do?
so I just think like we don't know what post is going to do well, so why worry about it? And if it's 60% good, then I'm going to post it. On my ads that I run, I will throw it into Descript and get the subtitles down below, and that's it. So
Mhm,
Descript, I don't use much of the AI or editing. It's just to get the words on there, I re-download it and off I go. But that's all you guys need. Even if you don't want to use Descript, just go on Instagram, put your video in Instagram, put captions, and then just resave that video. Now you have captions on your video too. So there's a
mhm,
lot of little hacks there, but I actually think like if it's I think you're going to get more engagement if it's not perfect. Like I think there's something weird about like videos being too polished that I'm like I don't think relates with my audience because I know that my audience is just another human being like I am
mhm,
looking on social media. So I also think it's really important for us to keep in mind of what type of posts, what type of channels do we personally like to follow as well, right?
mhm,
And that's kind of 2 years ago when I switched my whole strategy up. I'm like, well, what do I consume on social media? What are these people actually trying to do? Yeah, they might be trying to sell me something, but most of their posts is educational. Most of their posts is trying to attract me to their brand. So I'm like, wait a second, why don't I just do that and see how that goes? To me, that's a lot easier than bragging about a sold property.
True story, man. And it's just so boring seeing that over and over again. Um, I want to share just a kind of a pro tip for some folks that are kind of like maybe at the stage of being able to master this and want something else to be able to generate a lot of business. And this will work really well for markets that are experiencing a lot of growth. Let's say you live somewhere where there's a lot of population growth due to positive immigration and and your city's growing. Doesn't matter where in the planet you are. If you don't already have a YouTube channel set up for that purpose, and it doesn't have to be for the city, just for you, be all the things that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be like one thing, all the stuff. Okay. And you can just set up different sections of the YouTube for this purpose. And all you got to do, make sure, first of all, that you got a 4K camera. So, my Samsung S23 Ultra, this back facing camera is 4K. Most are iPhones and all that. The front facing camera, not so. That's I think it gets up to 1080p and that's it. So that's thing one. Make sure it's in horizontal orientation, right? And then just start talking about things in your city. Just go to a location, literally film something cool in your city that's a highlight. Could be the information center, could be an art center, could be arenas, could be whatever. Literally weekly, just make a point of going to some place in your city that would be interesting for somebody who would be moving to your city from somewhere else and go ahead and do a 5 to 7 minute piece on that. Don't get all fancy editing it. Don't worry about it too much. For that particular thing, it's going to work a lot better if you have a mic, better if you don't have a wired one, but you have a lav. So then you're going to be into like $100 to get yourself like a Rode lav mic, but easy enough to do. All in, your kit's going to cost you like $200-300. Okay. If you do that, and then you go ahead and do what Ryan said, which is just get your editing done into script. The script I think is like $10 a month, not a big deal. And then what I want you to use is go and get TubeBuddy. Okay, so TubeBuddy is just a tool that'll help you find out for like $5 a month what the best words are to describe your video for your descriptions, help you put the appropriate tags in, help you get it set up so that people actually find it. Because don't forget that YouTube's owned by Google and people Google cities. Okay. So you want the people who are Googling your city to find these things to do in your city, highlights, whatever, culture, locations, schools, you name it, all this stuff you can do once a week, all in what I just described for you. By the time you drive over there, record the video, get back in your vehicle, back to the office, load it into script. I mean, if that's an hour, I'd be surprised. And this is the kind of thing that week after week after week, year after year, is going to be generating a lot of opportunity for you, because now you've become this person who's attracting opportunities from folks doing relocations. And here's the thing, they've already felt like they've got a friendship with you because they've been seeing so much of your content. They've checked you out on other channels now, right? So they're seeing your personal life. So when you start to integrate these things, guys, you're really putting this persona out there of who you are and what it would mean to work with you. And yeah, it does mean getting uncomfortable in front of the camera, but I'd rather be uncomfortable in front of the camera than uncomfortable at the food bank. Okay. Like, give me the option, man. I'd rather be, wealthy and uncomfortable in front of a camera all day long. No question. Trust me, it wasn't always good in front of the camera. I am now because I've done it thousands and thousands of times. Same with Ryan, right?
Mhm.
Takes time, takes practice, but when you commit, you're going to get awesome at it. You can't help it. It just happens.
Yeah, and I love that too. And a lot of times we're going to be on social channels or surfing Facebook or Instagram, and we're going to compare our chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 1,000, where the videos are like amazing and all that stuff. And I would encourage you, like, just start, and then next time you do a video, just do like one thing better. Like, maybe that's add a caption, maybe that's add some emojis in your description, maybe that's you boost it one time. Maybe
Mhm.
that's you take that video and you post it on YouTube. And then you take that and you post it in an email campaign. Like, just one thing better, because I think a lot of times agents will get overwhelmed of all the million things that they need to do, and then they don't execute on anything. Right. So just do one thing better each time, or one thing better each month, and you would be amazed at the amount of progress, and also how easy it is to use these tools, because I think there's friction there. Like, we talk about Descript and people are like, oh, I don't know how to use it. And the cool thing is you just type in Google how to use Descript, and there's tutorials everywhere for stuff like that. I'm
Yeah.
not that techie, and I've been able to figure it out to a point where it's good enough, right? And good enough is plenty good enough when it comes to social media, in my opinion.
100%. I was just trying to find online some of these crappy old videos that I did like all these years ago with like Shaw and whatever. Man, they were horrible. Like, if you were to see how bad I was on video back in the beginning, you wouldn't even believe that I'm able to do it now. So how about this? I don't want to bore people here today, but just for fun, I found it just now. I got to do a screen share. So bad, guys, so bad it's good. You just wait. You're gonna be inspired by how bad I am. Check this out. Tell me you can see it, Ryan.
Yep, you're good.
You're going to sell. Here's what you need. Well, here's one of our competitors. And this is a great ad. I already texted them and told them.
Hi there, I'm Courtney Atkinson, and today we're going to be
How
talking
bad is
about
this,
the difference
guys?
between realtors and real estate practitioners. Realtors are licensed in the province of Alberta to work in transactions of residential real estate,
Look at all that hair.
commercial real estate, or rural real estate. They've been through an education program, yearly updating, many exams, and a lot of education to help them.
Okay, so like that's as much as I can bear to
Wow.
watch. That's so bad, man.
How many years ago was that?
Um, okay. I mean, that's in the beginning, so it's like no, 12 years ago. I wish it was the beginning. Man, I was already in business like 4 years by then. Oy, oy, oy.
It's crazy though, because I do think agents have to go through like those cringy moments that when you look back on, they're cringy. But at the time, you're like, you're in video. Probably no other agents were doing that stuff. So I don't know. Like, I think agents make the whole thing too complicated, as opposed to like, let's get 100 videos under your belt and then start
Yep.
tweaking it. Right.
Here's the thing, like, guys, for what it's worth, as cringy as that video is, don't think that I didn't do business because of it. Like, I was on Shaw News, people knew me and they reached out to me. Okay. So like I'm making fun of myself, but you will too, right? That's the whole point, is that you can't make fun of what you didn't do. And people aren't going to contact you over a video that you didn't do. And your friends, yeah, they're going to call you, razz you. So what? Now they're going to do business with you because you got the guts to get out there and do something consistently. Like, promise you it'll work.
Love that. To wind up, Court, I only have one more thing, and then I'll lay it up to you to close. But if you guys are struggling to think about things to post about, Go on other people's channels, like go on my channel, just rip off and duplicate that stuff. Like at least it'll get your kind of brain churning as to like how can you create content differently. Go on Courtney's channel. He might be talking about coaching, but just think about, hey, how can this apply to me? How can I make a post that way too?
Um,
Or if you do follow specific agents in your marketplace, be careful there. But if you really like the way or some messaging of specific agents, like reach out to them, ask them about it, right? And I
mhm.
can't stress this enough. Have a note page or some central form or app to make notes, because you'll be out walking your dog one evening and you're gonna be like, wow, that's a great hook, or yes, I need to post that. Next morning you wake up to do it and you're gonna totally forget about it. So my notes page, it's an absolute mess, but it's just like a throw up of information from my brain. Usually when I'm working out, I'll think of something, just throw it in there, and then it's there forever.
I just like examples. So here's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to show somebody how to rip off and duplicate somebody else's content. Okay. Now let me just pull up here. Uh, Desktop. Yeah, let's try this. So you should be on my
Yep.
Facebook. Okay, cool. So does my other tab show up now? You
Yeah, it's
see it on
Google.
screen? Okay, sweet. So I'm going to go to my chat. Okay, so guys, get Chat GPT-4 if you can. I've got one in here for social posts that I use regularly. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to Facebook. Ryan, give me a favorite realtor from the US that you like. Anybody that you're crazy about their content, or somebody inspirational, let's say. Doesn't even have to be real estate related.
Oof, put me on the spot here.
I know.
Um,
Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
Come
I
on.
was literally thinking about him.
Okay,
So
let's go see
he
what
made a
Tony
cool
Robbins.
video the other day, and the audio was all muffled at the start, and I'm pretty sure it was for a reason. So I'd be curious to that. But anyways, that's a side note.
Okay.
That one right there, you should listen to that at the start, actually.
Oh, audio.
Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, I just want to reach out and thank everybody. We're #1 of all books on Amazon just the first day.
Yeah, it's like super
But
loud, hey?
but now I'm here talking about it. So
Yeah, we are. I'm looking for something long format that he's done. Oh, no, and not selling something. I mean, I guess when you're Tony Robbins. Okay, here we go. Let's just say it was Martin Luther King Day, okay? And I didn't know what to post, and I wanted to post something. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to find somebody else's. I mean, you can do this on literally anybody's social channel, guys, okay? This is a post from Facebook that I want to rewrite in my own voice. I should say below. Below is a there. So now all I got to do, I mean, I can go leave my chat, go do something else, and come back, and it's going to go ahead and write it out for me. So guys, here's the kicker. This is original content. Like, I have not plagiarized this. I own this content, okay? That's a fact. Sure, the original post, this one, that's Tony Robbins. If I copied it and pasted it, that would be plagiarizing.
look at the hashtags too. They're all your hashtags.
Exactly, I've trained it, right?
Yeah.
It's not doing a great job with the emojis. It kind of every now and then it kind of screws up those. But this is basically my voice that I've trained, and now I've got a post that I can use, right? So guys, don't overthink this stuff. Don't think that it's too hard for you. Don't think it's above your head. You can use these tools to make it super easy for yourself. All you got to do is block the time, stick to your schedule, and do it consistently. Ryan, I know that at the end of these, we're in the habit of providing some free value. So what's the scoop if somebody wanted to chat with you a little bit more about the strategy or some of the other stuff that you've done, or how you sold 70 to 80 homes a year consistently part-time? What would somebody do if they wanted to chat with you about how they could do that?
I'm going to throw a link in the chat right now, and it's going to take you to my Calendly just for a discovery call.
Okay.
And it's funny, like I was doing real estate part-time when I had my corporate job there, and I was able to give up my corporate job and now build a whole nother business. And I still think, like, I'm still doing half-time hours with real estate, but it's because I was aware enough 2 years ago to be like, hey, I don't want to have 50 deals coming from making dials. To me, that's hard work. Okay, so what am I doing to build my future self 2 years from now? Well, a lot of that was social posting, right? A lot of that was, okay, how do I work my sphere of influence? Do I have an email list? What does that look like? How can I be different? And I'm just, guys, I'm so thankful I did that work now, because 2024 is going to be a cakewalk for me. And I'm not trying not to brag, but like deals are coming to me now as opposed to me chasing deals. And it's so nice. And it's not that complicated. If I can do it, any one of you can do it too. So literally click that link. You can book me in for 45 minutes free. And yeah, we'll talk about how coaching works ongoing. But if you do have one or two things that are kind of front of mind that you're struggling with, we'll talk about that for the first 40 minutes. Last 5 minutes, we'll talk about how we can engage one another moving forward.
Guys, we're doing the same thing with you that we do in our businesses. It's how we've managed on this team to sell over 4,000 homes. It's how Ryan's been so successful. We're just going to continue making value deposits in your bucket. And there may come a time where you need a hand. That may not happen. Maybe you have a friend. Maybe it comes by referral. Maybe you want to reach out for a free discovery call with Ryan and you have no intention on hiring him after that. Guys, that's okay. All right. We're not here to hard close anybody. We're here to provide value because we know that it all works out in the end. It's a good use of our time. It's a value to you. If there's a way we can be of service in the future, whatever that looks like, just let us know. We're here for you guys.
Sure.
Sure.
Love that. And to close that up, guys, I did put that link in the chat there. We're going to send a replay out of this as well, probably tomorrow. I'll throw that link in there again, too. If you don't have the chance to click on it right now, no worries. And we'll be doing this again next Monday. So you guys, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Courtney, anything else before we sign off?
No, just go crush, guys. Get started today.
See you guys.